Yo, what's going on? It's DK, Cancel Kings. I'm here to mark my words.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, yeah, man, we got a special topic here. We'll let Mark introduce it, then we'll get into prayer and get into this. Let's go.
Hey, today we're going to talk about the Shannon Sharpe allegations. Obviously, a lot of you heard already that there's allegations that he may have been involved in a sexual assault case. So we're just going to talk about the difference between being a high value, high risk man in today's society and what that can do to you. Also being single and being somebody in the limelight and what that can do, inside of relationships and how it can cause issues.
Yeah, let's get into it. Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for your grace and your mercy, Lord. As you just continue to keep us, protect us, Lord, guide us in everything that we do, Lord. We're praying for Shannon Sharpe, praying for the lady, praying for everyone who's involved, Lord. We just want to get wisdom and guidance out of this. So, Lord, we just want to say that we love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man. So I'm going to key this up, man. You ready?
Yeah, so we're going to play a little video for you guys. Couple things hit the airwaves yesterday, just describing some of the factors of the case and, kind of letting people know what happened. But also, too, he came on with his own response. Yeah, so which some people agree with, some people didn't. You know what I mean? So we're going to jump right into it and see what you guys think.
Yeah, bro. Before we even get to the video, man, what do you think about Shannon Sharpe? Shannon Sharpe, the player, first. What do you think about?
Well, first of all, he's a Hall of Fame player.
Yes,
so that's a big deal in the NFL. I actually think that his career took off. After he got on TV and whatnot. He's a great personality.
Yeah.
And I think he does a lot for the sport. Like a lot of us watch those shows because of him.
Yeah.
And so he makes it fun. He's different. He's a different personality. And for us black men, it's nice to look on the screen and see someone that looks like us. And he's always conducted himself correctly as well. He played hard. He was a good teammate from what I understand. Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Set a lot of records. So he's well respected.
Yeah.
Amongst us that watch sports like that. So I mean, I think highly of the man. You know what I mean? Just as far as what he did on the field, of course.
Yeah. No, it was good.
And it's not easy. And it's not easy as well. I think people think that it's easy when you're talented like that. But it's tough to do. It's tough to maintain for years and years and years.
Yeah.
He's done it for years and years, and now he's in front of the camera and he's very relevant.
Yeah.
Which is also tough to do. So with that, obviously, comes a big spotlight.
Right. All right. Yeah. So let's jump into this video. And let's see where we go with it. All
right. Shannon Sharpe has responded to accusations of sexual assault. Here it is.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about.
Yeah. What do you think?
All right. So first off, it's important to recognize what type of person this is, right? Because things change depending on your status.
Yeah.
So we can't say it's all the same for all men, because any of us that are men and have seen men of status or seen men of high value, so to speak, they have different rules and regulations, and they have a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So this man being in the public eye all the time, every day, you turn on TV, YouTube, whatever, you can see him, right? Obviously, he had money from his previous career.
Yeah.
So it is not like this ain't new money.
Right.
We're talking he's had decades of having money, right? Wealth. So he becomes a target, of course. And his lifestyle is different. And I think a lot of people that haven't been close to an athlete of this stature don't understand what it's like living in this lane, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're recognized. You're bigger just as a human being than most people. So people look at you and say, oh, what even if they don't know you, who are you? They'll ask you that in the airport. They'll ask you that in the coffee shop. Right. They'll ask you that if you take your kids out to Disneyland. Like, who are you? Are you somebody? You know, They're taking pictures with you. They're doing this and this and that. So when someone like him is operating in a relationship, even if it's very casual, it's always different than what myself or what you might have to go through.
Right. So I was watching this show with him, and it was Ocho Cinco, and they were talking about the top most important things in relationship, right? And I think it was like the four they named. It was like money, it was religious beliefs, it was in-laws, and something else. But when they both talked about it, they said what their number one thing they thought was important in relationship was money, right? And when I heard that, I felt it was an issue with that, right? Because if money is the most important thing, that comes with a lot of different things. You know what I mean? I'm not saying money's not important, but if that's what you're putting on top of your list, money, then you're moving in a different lane, right? You're moving in a lane where now this becomes, your idol, for lack of better words, right? And there's things that come with that, things like this. You know what I mean? You start and people start messing with you just for your money. You know what I mean? Instead of those other things that, should be, to me, more important in a relationship, because money come and go. You know what I mean? Kanye was a billionaire one day, and then, you know what I mean? It just come and go, but Kanye's still Kanye because money didn't make him. You know what I mean? He made money, but money didn't make him.
Right. So it because it's a factor, these guys have so much, they have access to wealth, right? They're around wealthy people. Everything they do is different because of their financial situation.
For sure.
So to say that they should leave money out of it and it shouldn't matter, that's never going to be the case. Because everything they do has something to do with their financial position, their flights that they take, right? Where they live, the cars they drive, the schools that their kids go to. Everything is determined by money. So for them, they do have to factor that in.
Oh no, I think everything needs to be factored in. I just can't put it first and what makes a relationship strong.
Oh, absolutely. But I think for them, because of their positions and where they've been for so long, they almost have to put it first. They almost have to consider that. Okay, where does she come from? What does she do for a living? Has she been with other people with money? Does it look like this is a pattern? Like, they have to assess these things, whereas you and I wouldn't have to do that.
Right. Now, I want to not change the subject, but when we talk about, the modern man's trap, right? A modern man's trap, right? And you think about a high value man like Shannon Sharpe. What should a high value man be looking for in a woman? And did he pick the right? Well, what do you think? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think that just goes down to your definition of what high value means.
No. Just as a high value man, like what type of woman do you think that you should be looking for as a high value man?
Well, that's somebody that keeps you at a high value status.
Okay.
I mean, to me, the guys that are truly high value, and I look at high value being your value to others, right, and your value to your community and stuff. So that just doesn't mean you got a lot of money, because if you have a lot of money but you don't do anything for anybody, you're only of value to yourself or the 5 or 6 people around you.
Yeah.
But a high value person, and even him reporting on sports and giving his take on things from his perspective adds a lot of value to people who are into that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, in a lot of respects, he's high value just off of that, just off his personality, what he brings to the table like that. But I think if I had a friend that was high value man, and I looked at him and I said, bro, you're on TV, you're on podcasts, you're famous. You need somebody that's going to keep you focused, keep you on the straight and narrow, and not let you deviate. Right. That would be the first thing I'll be looking for. Like somebody that, and that's hard to determine at first, obviously, but somebody who was going to keep you from becoming low value, perhaps.
Right. And I know you look like you're about, 23, 24. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
But we know Shannon. He looks pretty young too, but he's
Yeah,
50
yeah.
now. There's been allegations on how old this girl was, and I've heard anywhere from like 19 to 24.
Mhm.
Not always true, but do you think that's a huge age gap?
Huge.
Um, and let's listen to some more of the video, and then we'll
Okay.
get into that.
We have a lot of details. Busby, the attorney, his reputation is taking hits by the day, both from judges and the public. Shannon Sharpe is facing a massive civil lawsuit while in the middle of negotiating a $100 million podcast deal. Now, that part may be important as to the timing.
Real quick, bro, I want to talk about the lawyer. Right. Let's get on this guy. Number one, Shannon said earlier in the video, he was saying how, basically he's going after black men.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's going after Jay-Z and who else? These are the high profile ones we know. I know that they were in negotiation even before this came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lawyer had broke it down, and it was like, I think he even offered her $10 million, right?
Yeah.
And the $10 million, he wasn't saying that he was guilty, but it's like just to fight these type of things, it's gonna cost you $8 million.
Absolutely.
At minimum.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand as well. When they see people settle, they're always saying that's an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
But for someone like him, obviously, look at what's going on already, right? And this is day 2. So we're talking millions of dollars, time, attention, bad press, all these things, right? Sponsorships, all these things that can happen. Oh, you just want money for real, because that's all you want.
Yeah.
And it's tough because I hate that sexual assault allegations go unsolved, or people, just push them off because, oh, we don't think this is true, or this chick just wanted money. So you never really get to solve the actual issue, because if it happened, God forbid,
right,
you can't solve it with money anyway. But the money part at least says, okay, you've been paid. That's what you wanted because you filed a civil suit to get money.
Right.
So here you go. Here's your money, and let's let this go away. Now, obviously, that would have meant that she couldn't talk about it anymore, and they would have to, put a gag order on or whatever.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like I'll be seeing, all these lawsuits come out, and they're civil lawsuits. I mean, if you're a victim of a crime, why not? You know what I mean? Why not go to criminals?
Because, bro, the money is in the problem for him. Meaning, like the Busby Bull, obviously, this is what he specializes in. Oh, if we just file anything against him, it doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be found guilty, or we don't have to be, awarded whatever. He's going to give us money just to make it go away. And speaking about the Busby Bull, now I don't know too much about him, but these attorneys, right? I think that there are a lot of them trying to make a name for themselves, because we're never going to forget that name.
Right.
So now, what he can charge for his fees, it goes up, and he's low key, he's famous already. I don't even know what he looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of them, bro, it doesn't have to. They don't have to. They do this in criminal suits. They don't have to win these cases all the time. It's high profile cases. Get your name out there. Get your law firm out there. Yeah. Now you can concentrate on winning some cases, but your fees now are, through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yeah. So obviously there's something to this guy and what he's trying to do. I don't think it stops with him. Meaning, I don't think that he's the one coming up with, let's set up Shannon Sharpe.
Right.
I think it's some higher ups, and he's just as he's carrying out.
I was even at that same interview I was watching with Shannon and Ocho Cinco, right? Shannon was kind of like going on his religious thing, right? Okay. And he was saying how that when he was younger, he said one of the people said, "Oh, you're gonna be a minister or whatever," and he has a walk with God. I assume it's Christian, but I'm just by the way he was talking.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, if you are saying you're a Christian and a Christian man, and the way that you're moving, though, doesn't always equal up to that. You know what I mean? Right. And I think, that's something that, that's just thing that we need to talk about as far as like, hey, if especially it's one thing, we all young, we make mistakes, you know what I mean? But as you get older, you figure that you progress more, right? I feel like there's things I did at 25. When I get 50, I don't think I'm gonna be doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But now I'm looking at him at 50, and I'm looking like, these are the type of things I expect. Hey, you just got in the league, this and that. You know what I mean? And even if you're doing it, it's I know he had the thing on, I think it was it Instagram or something where the camera was on, and you know what I mean? Like you don't make those type of mistakes at 50.
Well, so I think his actual age is 56.
Now we're talking about 60 almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it was funny because when you said something about him looking younger, right? So depending on how you take care of yourself, he doesn't feel 56, right? He doesn't feel like the normal 56-year-old that's on your corner. Right. He might feel like he's 36.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you're doing things like a 36-year-old does. I guarantee you, if you went to the gym with him, he does workouts that 36-year-olds do. You know what I mean? He has the energy of a 36-year-old, which obviously you can't have all that and then say that your brain doesn't operate a little bit more. What we want to do is be youthful and wise.
Right.
So we're hoping to all feel like we're 30 forever.
Right.
Have the wisdom of the 60-year-old. So I get what you're saying about him. He should have the wisdom and he should be operating differently. But at the same time, when you have that energy and you feel this way, I feel young. So I'm going to go to the beach and play volleyball today. Now, who's at the beach while he's playing volleyball? 22-year-old females. You understand me? So if he feels like he's 36, he's not going to date 56-year-old women.
Right.
Because I think everybody's expecting that from him. First of all, most men like younger women.
Right.
Maybe not 20 years younger, but a lot of times 7, 8 years,
No, I get it. Or
and then
30 years younger.
Well, but 30 years is a lot. But again, he feels like he's 36. So her being 22, you dig what I'm saying? And so I understand him wanting to be around a younger female, right? I did want to hit on this right before we get into just his personal lifestyle. The fact that he's in negotiations for this $100 million contract, obviously this is not by accident. Right. And what I've seen with the black men who have been, caught up in these allegations and going through the things they're going through is the timing of it.
Right.
It's never by accident when the timing comes. Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, all of them, whether they're guilty or not. Right. We don't really know. We weren't there. But it always comes at a time that they're about to sign a huge deal or make a huge move. Right. And it's also pushing our culture. And people really, I think, don't understand. We look at the guy and say, oh, he might lose out on 100 million. But what would that position have done for our people? Right. In some phases. And I don't care if someone like Shannon Sharpe was just going to start free youth camps all over America for the next 20 years.
Right.
What would that have done for all those different communities just because he signed that deal? So if they can get in the way of him signing that deal, here we go.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was reading something this morning, right? And when you think about the enemy, like how the enemy attacks, right? And that's with Jesus in the wilderness, right? And the first, it's been there for 40 days, devil comes like, hey, turn these rocks into stone or these stones into food, you're hungry. So it started off small, right? But then the next two things that he tempts him with, it was weird because he took him to the temple and to the highest point of the temple and it was like, hey, jump off of this. You know what I mean? But I was like, wow, why did he take him to the highest point? It's like every time he gets to the highest point, the enemy's trying to tempt him. And then he took him to the high mountain and was like, hey, you can have all this to be yours. Like the enemy, once we get to where we're supposed to be, the enemy comes and try to tempt us. And it's like, we got to be able to, pass that test. Because, Jesus said, hey, Jesus said it too, but also it just showed after he said no, that whatever the enemy was offering him, he fled. You know what I mean?
So they use a lot of analogies specific to that. But, you're playing a football game, bro. The defense gets tougher at the goal line, right? So the closer you get to the goal line, the defense gets tougher. We've all been in situations where we feel like we're about to get that job, get that car, get married, right? And something comes in right at the end. You hear people literally day of the wedding, something happens to try to. But I think if the enemy was going to attack you, why wouldn't he attack you when you're about to be your best? You understand? So for athletes, people that have money, personalities like him, singers, actually, whatever you're going to do, when you're about to land that big role, of course the enemy sees that because he knows, oh, if he gets to this other side,
well, it's gonna be
there's
crazy.
no stopping him because he
Yeah.
can convert more people.
Yeah.
So I got to stop him right here, right?
Yeah.
I also feel like, especially for men, right? If we don't get control of our vices before we get to the top, then vice is going to take us down. And then, of course, the enemy, whoever that might be, right, is going to look and say, well, what does DK like to do?
Yeah.
What does Mark like to do? Oh, Mark like hats?
Yeah.
Then I'll tempt him with buying a hat store and take his focus off of what he's supposed to be focused on. You understand? So with him, and I hate to say that he has a vice or has a whatever for women, because we all like women, right? We all like women, so we can't. But I think if you're in a lane and you're dealing with certain types of women, you're opening yourself up to, you know. So if we were talking to our children, we both have, teenage kids, and they were going to ask us, what type of women should I deal with? Right? I'm going to tell them, you should deal with these over here, because the problems that could come your way are going to be a lot less extreme.
Yeah. Real quick, Steven said, Shannon said Tony Busby targets black men, but Shannon Sharpe targets little white girls. She won.
I mean, that's deep. Now we can all speculate, right, on what culture he likes to date. Do I think he likes white women? I think he does. But that doesn't mean that he likes negative white women. That doesn't mean that he likes white women that don't operate correctly or have his worst interests, perhaps, instead of best interests. I just think that's the flavor he likes. And it's 2025, bro.
Right.
We know a lot of black men who like to date white women. He ain't the only one, So that might be his target audience, right? But to say little girls, that's kind of weird to me, because,
she's an adult.
At 19 or 20,
they
say that they mature faster than us, that a lot of times we're 27, 28, we're going to date someone 7, 8 years younger. So if she was dating a 27, 28-year-old man, would she still be a little girl? And then I think she's an OnlyFans model, so we might as well get into that while we're talking about it. Honestly, for me, him being single is an issue.
Yeah.
If I was a friend of his, right? I would be wondering why he's not partnered seriously.
Yeah.
And listen, everybody's not going to do the traditional, I married one person, I'm with him 30 years. Everybody's not going to do that. But when you are partnered, and I don't care if it's 1, 2, or 3 women, you know what I mean? But those women that you're committed to and you're committed in committed relationships, you're not going to be seeking out the OnlyFans model.
Yeah.
You're not going to be at the strip clubs as much. I'm not saying he'd be at strip clubs, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Your life's going to settle down.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, like I said before, to me, him basically claiming to be a Christian man, you would think that he wouldn't be in this lifestyle at this age, at this time. You know what I mean? That he would have, like you said, at least at minimum partnered up. Maybe marriage wasn't for him. Maybe he doesn't want to have, a serious relationship. But you would think that he would have some more stability than OnlyFans model.
So I think it's tough, because remember how him and Chad were talking about, partnering up and all the things they have to go through. It's harder for them to date, because you always in the back of your mind, not only are you worried about them having, being financially focused on your money, but their family members,
right?
Who's in their circle, who's in their, right? So do they really love me for real?
Yeah. You think this was a setup?
Oh, absolutely.
From the beginning?
That's a good point. Now, I would have thought set up from the beginning. As soon as he met her, the fix was on, right? But since you said that, all it took was finding out who he dealt with. If somebody could find out who he dealt with, so somebody like Tony Busby, we think he deals with this woman,
right?
Contact her,
and let's go from there.
She can get flipped because she's the only. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Yeah. And listen, we're not trying to throw stones at the OnlyFans models right now, right? But if I was looking to flip somebody, I'm going to look for certain people that deal in a certain lane,
right?
Because most likely now, mind you, this probably wasn't a super serious romantic relationship,
right?
this obviously was a more casual sexual relationship that they had.
Right.
So therefore, yeah, we can flip her because they ain't in love.
Right.
They might have feelings for each other.
Right.
But they ain't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, and I was, my thing is, they have, all these recordings, and I'm like, or were these recordings set up? You know what I mean? Especially the voice recordings. You know what I mean? Like, you think that, whatever Busby was like, hey, let's let's set him up, say this, say that,
Okay.
coach, I don't know.
Or the text messages?
Well, not the text message, because the text messages seemed like she kind of was on another, another thing. But I'm talking about like after they figured out, okay, we about to get him. This is gonna be a year process, but we go, say something with, that's gonna get him mad and do this, you know what I mean? Or or he does talk to you like that. Let's catch him doing that, because I don't just go around recording, what I mean, when I'm on the phone, you know what I mean?
Well, she also recorded, obviously an escapade of theirs or two.
Right.
I'm sure it was probably more than one. But man, people get swayed by money.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it gets a bad name, because we can use it for evil. But I think people get swayed by money. So even if she had a decent casual situation with him, everything was cool. Once that got put into play, somebody come to talk to you, we can get 50 million.
Right. You talking about 50,000.
And they might not have even told her what was going on, what they were actually going to do. Meaning, we're just going to say that he lied to you, he cheated on you. That's it. It might have just right at the end, we're going to say it's sexual assault.
Yeah.
So we don't even know if she was okay with it, because obviously we haven't heard from her. Right. You know what I mean? So, but these, I think that his biggest issue, right, is first of all being single. Because when you're single, you're going to be out doing stuff that you wouldn't do when you're partner.
Right.
I'm talking about just on a Tuesday night, somebody call you, let's get some wings, let's chill, let's watch a game, let's get some beer. You're not doing that on Tuesday night if you have a lady.
Right.
You're not doing that, bro. If you got to get your kids up for school tomorrow, or all these things. So at his age, obviously he doesn't have little kids. Mm-hmm. I would think that was, to me, the start of the issues, is that you got too much free time, bro. Yeah. You got too much. You got resources. Mm-hmm. You got free time. You got the energy of a 36-year-old. Yeah. That's not the time to be single, to be honest with you. And I don't know that if you were 26 or 36 at your stature,
right,
being single is more of a negative than a positive.
Yeah.
Right. When you have access to resources, bro, you can go where you want. When you have access to resources, you can be around who you want. You can do it when you feel like it. I mean, those platforms that he has, those are his. He can record when he wants.
Yeah.
He could take a week of recording and be off for 3 weeks if he wants. Yeah. Right now, he's on First Take, I believe. So that's daily. You know what I mean? But the point is, he writes his own ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're right. Let's get back into it. Let's see.
The motive behind the now of this lawsuit, according to the other side. This is a story with a lot of twists and turns. The legal action filed by Jane Doe, represented by the same lawyer who unsuccessfully pursued Jay-Z in a similar case brought last year. We covered that here. This one accuses Sharpe of assault, sexual assault, battery, sexual battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit that was filed on the 20th of April, 2 days ago, by the unidentified woman alleges that Sharpe sexually assaulted her multiple times in late 2024 and early 2025. And because of the...
So you never want to try to, obviously discredit what anybody alleges, right? Because there's people that actually get sexually assaulted every day. So we never want to seem insensitive to those type situations.
Right.
I guess what makes it look bad is that when you have a year or two casual situation where obviously sex was the main objective, right? That's what they That's what they did. You don't hear them talking about going on trips, spending holidays together, being with each other's kids.
Right.
It was a casual sexual relationship that they had. Okay. So then when you say, oh, at the end of it,
Right.
he started to sexually assault me, right? That's always weird to me. And then taking it a step further, right? He's handsome, he's rich, he got resources, he can do what he wants, he's single. I always wonder why that guy would need to take sex from a woman.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he can get sex from
Whoever he wants.
I mean, you know,
Basically.
yeah. He has a lot of options.
Yeah.
A lot of options, man. Even if he had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you're telling me that this woman that he's been sleeping with for 2 years, think about that. It's 24 months.
Right.
Trading all these text messages. They obviously they into some stuff, right? Together. That's cool. It's consensual.
Right.
At the end of it, he's going to start assaulting you to a point where it's, you know, almost criminal, which obviously they didn't file any criminal complaints, which was weird as well. So that's always weird to me, that these high value men that have resources, that have all these things, that people would sleep with for free.
Right. And that, to me, it's like everything, when everything's good, right? There's no problem. But now it's, hey, she wants to have the baby with you. I don't. So no, we ain't going to continue this. Maybe I caught you, you know, trying to put a hole in the condom. You know, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So now, we just gonna have to chill on this.
Right.
Now you upset. Now you saying I did this or I did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, too, man, you know, he could have just been over it.
Yeah,
right. I think he just could have been over it just as a casual thing. Hey, you know, I'm moving into a new realm. I'm about to sign this new podcast thing. Right. Maybe I have been doing too much out here, right?
Maybe trying to change.
You dig. So a lot of times you'll do that, and then you try to end it. Now all of a sudden at the end, we get allegations. And I also feel like, let me tell you something. By the time you get 56, whatever you like sexually, you've liked it for a minute. Right. You don't get to 56 and now you start liking whipped cream in the bedroom and you've never had before. Right. So if he was into this type of activity, I do not think this is the first time we'd have heard about it. When you're high profile like this, bro, when the camera's always on you,
you figure,
come on, man. Like and especially when you have resources. So if you're into whipped cream, bro, you're going to get to the whipped cream. You're going to have whipped cream all over the place.
Yeah.
You understand? So that makes it hard to believe for me.
Yeah. Because I mean, we think about Diddy, right? And, you know, whether innocent or guilty, but when these reports came, we've heard at least rumors of this before. Shannon's maybe close to the same age as Diddy, right?
Absolutely.
And he's been in the limelight for
very long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything.
No, nothing. And
he moves like Diddy. And as far as like, you know, it ain't like he's hiding in the closet somewhere.
Right.
We see him all the time everywhere. Yeah.
And you did touch on his spirituality. Yeah. And I feel like there's different levels to it.
Yeah.
And so as a spiritual man, you know, I don't think that it's hard to say he should be married because of his level of spirituality.
No.
Right. Or that you would have thought he'd been partnered because of that. There has to be reasons why he's not. And we don't know him personally. So there might be reasons. It might be like, man, I was hurt in 2 relationships I was in, you know? And so I want to take 10 years and just hone in on me. And maybe that's the plan moving forward.
You want to spread royal
I mean, hey, listen, I just think that the only problem is, you know, if I was speaking to my younger self, I would have said, hey, bro, nah, committed relationships keep you from a lot of potential negativity.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that your life's going to be perfect, but it keeps you from so many things just because even just time, and time is very important to men.
Yeah.
If we have idle time, bro, we get into way too much. And then obviously if you have vices.
Yeah, listen, idle time is the devil's time.
It definitely is. Yeah. So, and I mean, think about it. If the enemy was a human, and that human knows that, oh, Mark likes fast food, and he finna be at McDonald's every day at 6, I know he gonna be there. That's where he's gonna see me at.
Yeah.
So if whatever this man's vice might be, you know, and it might just be, I like certain women who get into certain things sexually. I ain't got to beat around the bush. I don't have to be in a relationship with them. I can just get to it. Well, bro, that's where the enemy's going to come attack you at, because this is what's crazy. I think he lives a pretty clean lifestyle other than that.
Okay.
I've heard him talk 1,000 times, man, about a lot of things. And it doesn't seem like he gets it. Like, I don't know if bro drink, smoke like that.
He do drink.
He has a cognac, bro. So I think he has to act like he, you know what I mean? But
so he told me he got flavored water.
Listen, bro.
In the cup. He might. I'm just saying.
The physicality that you see on this man,
look like
that he's held forever.
Look like
he
alcohol.
He ain't sitting around drinking all the time, because we know what alcohol leads into as well. The bad eating, the bad sleeping, all that type of stuff. So I don't think that he has a bunch of vice. I don't think he's out here living reckless and crazy, right? But we all have our thing or two, and we all like women. You know, I'm just saying, like, we all like having some type of sexual interaction with somebody. He's no different from anyone else in that regard. He may just be making the wrong choices, but I think so much of it has to do with the fact that he does not have a partner. He doesn't have that person to sit and watch movies with on Tuesday, like a lot of us do, right? Because you
got to click on OnlyFans.
You hear me? And we. So how many Saturdays do you end up sitting in the crib watching a game with your lady or something, chilling?
Right.
Whereas if you didn't have one,
right.
And then again, his resources. So
just speaking of that, you think about a lot of athletes, right, and a lot of entertainers. You know, I mean, those who are in relationships, right? It seems like they don't get in trouble as much. You know what I mean? When you look back at it, you're like, hey. You know, and even, I mean, think about Mike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, LeBron, you know what I mean? LeBron's, been with the girl, forever. We never hear like no allegations on it. We don't have no pictures of, videos of him in a club acting a nut.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Bro, I think your relationship makes or breaks you. We put the career first. We put the money first, right? We put a lot of things first when it comes to a man. I can only speak on being a man. But to me, you can't shake a bad relationship, right? But the same holds true for a good relationship. I don't think you can shake that. People say, oh, he got with her and he looks better, right? He seems to have better energy. Man, he seems to be doing really well in his career and this and this and that. They always say behind a good man is a good woman. Yeah. Now, I think there's a lot of good men that don't have a woman. So, but a man, I think a man on a scale of 1 to 10, if a man is at a level 5, he gets a great woman, he's now at a 7 or 8. Easy, right? Easy. But if he has a bad woman, immediately it takes you down.
All the way down.
Yeah. So I think with especially our athletes, right? Our young athletes, a lot of us around the world, dads, we talk to our kids about being good in their sport, getting their education, even being financially responsible.
Right.
But how many times do we tell them, yo, you need a good woman on your side, homie, because you're going to have access to a lot of women. So Shannon Sharpe has access to way more women than I do. Right. So I could probably be single and still do what I'm doing, be a little successful, and be okay. At his level, it's paramount that you have someone. LeBron's career doesn't go the way it does if he does not have that woman or a good woman like that.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? Same thing for Iverson. Same thing for Kobe. Yeah. Same thing for, I guess I guarantee if we did the research on how many top level athletes have a wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It would be astounding. The numbers would be astounding versus the single.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure some of the single guys do well, but we just seen the Ant Edwards situation.
Yeah. What happened with him?
No, I mean, he ended up having a baby to a woman.
Yeah.
And the story was about him paying the child support early.
Right.
So he said, I'm just going to pay you up front. I'm not going to pay month by month by month. Right. I'm going to just pay you up front. But obviously, he's a single man, right? Yeah. Up and coming star.
Yeah.
It's going to be better if he get himself in a very committed relationship at some point. Not to say just be in one and it be horrible.
Right.
But if he's in a sound relationship, you avoid these things.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but we take down the chances. So for a man like Shannon Sharpe, we hate that he's going through this situation that he's going through.
Right.
It's very unfortunate for all parties involved. I do think that the attorney is crooked and he's going to keep trying to do what he does, being a crooked attorney. But I think we have to worry about ourselves because the enemy always out there, bro. You'll never avoid the enemy. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
The enemy's gonna always try to attack you, but you lessen your chances and you give him less room if you're not at McDonald's every day at 6, right?
Yeah.
If you're not at the strip club every Saturday at 12, if you're not flying all over the country just to go to each day party and doing this and this and that.
Yeah.
So
I tell you, the Bible says it says resist the devil, resist the enemy, and he will flee. They don't say it don't say that he won't come back.
oh yeah, for sure.
But what
For
I'm
sure.
saying is, but like you said, if you continue to resist those, you know what I mean, those temptations, this and that, he's gonna flee. And then,
absolutely.
you know, every day's a battle.
Because you're not so easy of a target.
Yeah.
Right. If we were going hunting for deer, we're gonna get the biggest one that's moving the slowest. That's what we're gonna try to do.
Right.
So if you're the one that has the camouflage and you're, you know, and you undetected, you're not an easy target. So in this situation, he was an easier target.
Yeah.
Right. And at that level, man, it's hard because it is very tough. Because obviously they were going to try to get him somehow. I don't think the recording that came out was good.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's pushing the Rose Sparks. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then so I think that this now has people believing that he is just this, that all he think about is sex.
Yeah.
And that's all he on all day long. Obviously, we know that's not the case.
Right.
But I don't know that it helps even him endorsing that product.
Yeah.
You know?
Nah, I get it.
Yeah. So I think honestly for me, obviously this will go away because things go away. It's a civil suit, so it will get handled.
Yeah.
Right? One way or another, it's gonna get handled.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna end up ever paying this money. Okay.
Not 50.
No, she ain't getting no 50. I think, you know, she should have took the 10 because the 10 was a gimme. And I ain't mad at him for offering the 10. Yo, listen, a lot of people say the 10 was an admission of guilt. But as a man, right? Yeah. Somebody comes to your place of business right now and says, hey, we did an assessment of your building and it's under code. But you can pay us right now. We can fix everything and make it go away. Most business owners are going to say, yeah, I need to do that. Right. I need to make it go away.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't have time to be trying to figure out whether or not you're right or wrong.
Right.
So we see a lot of men pay. The average person thinks that it's an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
He was dealing with Gurley.
Yeah, he was.
Sexually assaulting somebody. And then I also think if she just continues to say, yes, he did, and I continue to say, no, I didn't, when does it ever get solved? I
guess we'll see the video. But with the video, you know, like you said, I think you said it was a 10-minute video. And what they probably sent to him was a 30-second edited clip.
Yeah.
You know,
it might be wild.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you know, we're not here to say if he's innocent or guilty. You know, I believe we still live in America where we're supposed to be innocent to prove him guilty. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not saying that she's lying. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is that we need to see the facts. We just can't jump to conclusions. We need to see the whole story. You know what I mean? You know, the same thing with Diddy. I think Diddy did a lot of that stuff, but I don't know if this stuff was illegal. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think he had wild parties and all of that. That's all that true. But I think these people were willingly coming, a lot of them, because they was coming back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. These ain't one time. Yeah,
Yeah, so and that's the thing that, you know, that bothers me. You know,
and on top of that, again, we say access, right? So what would we have been doing had we had the access to these people, these mansions, these resources? You know what I mean? Be able to fly everybody to a private island for a weekend and just do whatever we want. So we look down upon these folk. Yeah. But if we had the resources to do what they can do, what would we be doing as well? And I think that shows a level that we have as far as our spirituality, even to look down upon folk, and not see like, man, I could have been them.
Yeah,
I could still be them if I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? It's every day. It's a process. So I don't look down upon the man because he has this relationship with this woman, and it's sexual and casual in nature, right? Because there are a lot of people that get into some freaky stuff that if it was uncovered and we was able to put a camera there, we would see some wild stuff going on. I don't think he's as wild of a boy as they make him seem. Right. That's my personal opinion, though.
No.
I mean,
I get it. Yeah. Where you want to go? You good?
So, I would like to, say something to
Mhm.
some of the men in the room or that might watch this, the viewers.
Mm.
Man, we open ourselves up to the enemy.
Mhm.
He gonna come in many different forms. So when we're getting ourselves together, whether it be in partnership, whether it be getting rid of vices, whether it be keeping ourselves in the right lane, it's very important to do that. Stack it up, and it's every day. It's a process for you,
Mhm.
because at the end of not the end of the road, many times on the road, you will be tempted. The enemy's going to try to infiltrate, but the tighter you get yourself, the more you keep yourself away from the things that can interrupt, the better off you're going to be.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that there were times that Shannon Sharpe saw, man, I'm probably doing a little too much out here. I need to chill.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing he told himself that a bunch of times, and he just didn't.
Mm.
And so this should be a wake-up call to us as men, as modern men, that, bro, yeah, you might not have 50 million,
Mhm.
but you might got 15,000 that somebody need.
Yeah.
Or somebody just might want to interrupt your marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Or keep you from getting married to somebody that you with. So keeping yourself focused and keeping yourself on the right track is very important for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, man. Really.
My man.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I'm good. That's all I had. Unless you had something else, bro.
Hey, listen, man. It was a pleasure getting together. You know what I mean?
We gotta do this more often.
Yeah, we're gonna see y'all more often. This is your boy, Mark My Words.
Cancel Kings, man. We gonna do this. We're gonna do this, man. We'll see how often we do it, but I really liked it, enjoyed it. You know what I mean? We're trying to build up men to be better. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
So yeah, I'll get with you guys. Follow him. So
Hey, yo, listen, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube @ Mark My Words. If you have a topic for the show, I think DK got an email for you.
Yeah, hit us at Cancel Kings at gmail.com. Cancel Kings everything. You know what I mean? 1 L. You know what I mean? All right.
All right,
Well,
guys.
we'll
It's
get
been
to
a
our next
pleasure.
time.
Yep.
All right.